stats on the fire. Last mapped at 4,349 acres. We're looking at 201 personnel on scene and coming in at 160,000 on the cost. If you have a cell phone that's going to blow the crowd up in the next 20 minutes, if you could shut it down, that'd be great. I will remind you to turn it back up at the end. We'll do a review of the last shift with operations Brandon Peterson, followed by a night shift update with Cody Nelson.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Okay, yesterday was a good day. We decided to change tactics yesterday. As we get incoming resources, we went with a direct tactic as well as continue to mop up around the structures and hold the structures that we had previously were able to save. So over in Division Alpha, tricky spot over here, Autobahn subdivision, as well as the Yancey subdivision, just continuing to hold those structures and then look for opportunities to utilize dozers and or hand line to connect the dots over in Alpha. Delta, we had a little slop yesterday. It kind of snuck up on us down in the on the east side of the southeast corner of Delta. It slopped out, I don't know, about 100 acres, 150 acres over there. Midnight Suns were able to get over there, utilize air attack and air resources, and pretty optimistic we're going to be able to hold on to this little slop. The north half of Delta is looking good. There's a check line in there, and then as you move south around the corner, it ties into kind of swamp, natural barriers. We're pretty optimistic that we're going to be able to hold on to that as well. Moving into Kilo, combination of dozer line from the north, coming down from Hidden Hills Road, as well as rounding the corner at mile marker 84. We were able to get a little piece of dozer line in there, kind of came around the southern half and checked that. This is another tricky area. There's it's going to be a combination of dozer line and hand line over in Kilo. Moving into Victor's, same thing. There's good ground where they were able to utilize dozer lines, and then they're going to have to transition into hand line where it turns into swamp. In structure, we have a structure group just continuing to evaluate structures. If this thing does pop out to the east, the structure group will be ready.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Last night we had, a little bit of activity, but based on, all the hard work you guys have put in, didn't really amount to much for us. We had all four divisions at least had a call in though of, a flare up here and there, something going on. Stuff is starting to jackstraw out there, and we're just kind of seeing that. Most of it was interior from the lines, but homeowners were concerned as well as, troopers were picking stuff up and folks driving through. One thing we did notice today, inversion already starting to lift on our way out, so maybe getting some activity a little bit earlier. But by and large, didn't have a whole lot going on last night. Nothing that was outside of where it was supposed to be. So pretty mellow evening.
All right, thanks, Cody. Incident objectives have not changed since yesterday. You can review those on the board behind me and also in your IAP. Next, we'll go over to weather with incident meteorologist Julie Rutherford.
Good morning. So for fire weather today, we had good humidity recoveries last night, up to about 95% on the fire area. Fairly strong inversion formed over the area. Dense smoke localized, but not as widespread in this whole Susitna Valley as we've seen in previous mornings. So that's going to help let our inversion break a lot earlier. So that piece of the IAP forecast, I think I said either midday or early afternoon in there, but we should see the inversion going breaking within the next couple hours. So the result of that is we're going to be looking at the temperatures being a little bit higher, probably up to the upper 60s to about 70 degrees for the high temperature, and then relative humidity is down to between about 25 and 30%. So just slightly warmer, slightly drier than what's in the IAP forecast. Wind-wise, we're still looking at another day with really rather light winds. Starting out this morning, just a really light north-northeast drift to those winds, just maybe 1 or 2 miles an hour, enough to rustle the leaves, but not do anything more than that. That'll switch around more to the northwest as we go into mid to late morning, west by midday, and then southwest early afternoon. Those ones are also going to stay pretty light, 2 to 4 miles an hour. A little bit of influence of the wind coming off the river is what's giving you that westerly component to it. Then as we go later into the afternoon, 1500, we'll see a southerly wind of about 5 miles an hour push up the valley. So all around light winds through the day, but do expect to see that progression in the wind directions. Have a good shift out there.
Morning, Chris Moore, Fire Behavior. Today is going to be a lot similar to what it was yesterday. The inversion is going to break a little bit earlier, but as soon as that inversion starts breaking, all we need is a little gust of wind on the fire, and we get an increase in activity. Fuels are extremely dry, so it's a little bit of wind for the fire to transition from surface into the crowns, depending on the fuel type. So just be aware of where you're working and the fuels that are around you. When you are doing mop-up, extremely dry fuels, very hard work, labor intensive, and then the other problem is the trees, even green trees, have no stability with all that duff burned away, so they're coming over. Just be aware of your work area. Thanks.
Okay, good morning. Plan for today, it's pretty simple. We're starting to see resources filter in. We have Warm Springs and Rogue River IHCs coming in today. For Division Kilo, we're going to put Rogue River in there. Same thing as yesterday. It's utilizing that combination of dozer line, hand crews, and engines. Whatever we can do to go as direct as possible on this and button this thing up as quick as possible. Over in Victor, Warm Springs will be going into Victor, working with the engines, utilizing the existing dozer lines and hand lines, trying to round the corner as quick as possible. Up in Alpha, we do have a spot. There's a spot out here in Alpha we need to get out and look at today. We're going to be looking at multiple options there, whether or not we come off the Audubon subdivision towards the west, or the Yancey subdivision towards the west, and maybe look at a plan to burn that off instead of trying to go direct into Muskeg. It's just a really nasty area down there. So moving over into Delta, same thing. If we can get dozers in there, we'll get dozers. We'll get the Midnight Suns back in there to work the slop and see if we can hold this today. Structure group, we do have resources coming in. We have engines, we have water tenders, that sort of thing. We're going to beef up structure group and just continue to assess and prep structures out ahead of the fire. Thanks.
Morning, Brian Deck, Air Support. So a couple things on radio congestion. We only have the 2 FM air to ground, so if you could, in the course of your operations out there, use clear, concise text as much as possible. That would help alleviate some of the congestion we experienced yesterday. It's going to be busy. We all understand that, but do your best. H20 is a new heli spot, which will be on your map. That is by DP10 across the road. Gravel pit. And we will experience competition for fixed wing support with all that fire activity in the area, so be prepared to not receive what you ordered. Also, I want you to take a look at Air Operations Summary, and in the top corner here where it says Remarks, there's a bunch of listed hazards that are unique to the area that we're operating in. And just keep in mind, a lot of those pilots out there flying through the smoke and stuff, trying to help you out, can get myopic and be looking at the flame and not at the cell tower, off the left-hand side of the aircraft or something. So keep that in mind, and please advise when needed. Thanks.
First of all, there's no change in the communications plan. Having said that, there is a slight display problem on radios that people checked out from us last night. They're the old style radios, the DPHs. Channel 1 just says channel on it. Cut off the 1. If that bothers you, go over there to Mike, my ComTech, and he will reprogram those radios for you. It'll just take a second. It's not an issue with the frequencies, it's just the display. We're only using Command 1 on this fire at this time and Air to Ground 13. Speaking of Air to Ground 13, Air Ops asked me to speak to this a little bit. Normally I prefer to work with frequency management and not frequency of not telling people how to talk on their radios, but actually the radios themselves. Discipline I leave up to operations. However, back in the 20th century, what I would tell people was, this radio is a lot like a toilet. Use it and get off, because the next guy may need it more than you do. Now that we've entered the kinder and gentler world we all live in, I say, there's a device on the side of this radio. Used it 10,000 times. It's called a PTT, push to talk. It's not push to think. Figure out what you're going to say it, and get off my radio. Thank you. Any questions? Terse, concise questions? Come see me afterwards.
That's a tough one to follow. Good morning, Tom Grilling, Incident Safety Officer. We're going to talk about trains this morning. And I want to start off by thanking the Alaska Railroad that they've assigned a rep here directly to the incident to work with us and help keep folks safe. And we really appreciate that. And I have some specifics from that rep this morning. So the railroad is going to do their best to notify us when the trains are 15 minutes out from your work area, when they're coming through your work area. What we need to do is post a safety guard for each of our work groups working near the rails. And when the train starts coming, you'll know it, because they're going to be on what they call slow order today. And it's going to be going real slow, about 15 to 20 miles, or up to 15 miles per hour, 10 to 15 miles per hour. And that safety guard needs to face the train and wave to get their attention, to let them know that we're clear of the rails. So minimum 20 feet from each side of the rails. When working on a bridge with the railroad bridge, don't spend any time on the bridge. Look both ways, traverse the bridge, get off of it. The railroad milepost 199 through 203, railroad post milepost 199 through 203. It's on your map. That's not going to be, the train will not be escorted today. It will only be escorted milepost 203 and north. And what that means is it looks like a pickup truck, and it's fitted with gear so it can run on the rails. It'll run across in front of the train when it is escorted. You'll see that. Don't step on the rails. They're very slippery when wet. Some of you may know that already. And as far as doing operations across the rails with hose lays, we don't want to run anything across the rails. It's okay to run hose underneath the rails, remove some of the ground, and then when you get your hose out of there, do some repair work. But we need to mark that somehow, but do not mark it with red flagging. That means something else for the railroad. To mark it with rocks or any other color flagging other than red. And then pass that on to ops so that we can get that info to the railroad, and they'll be aware where they need to inspect that. Let's see here. I think that about covers it. And then just one other thing, there's a lot of personnel out there on the fire. That's a lot of eyes to identify hazards. Just identify the hazards, report that, get it, make that information known to incident safety. We appreciate it. Have a good day.
Good morning, Lizalda Spivak, Medical Unit Leader. We have a few medical resources on order. So Division, Victor, and Kilo, you'll be sharing resources today, but those guys should be on part tomorrow morning and be out there providing you the coverage you need. Next, for all those that's been here a while and for those coming in, any aches and pains, coughs, sneezes, we've set up a medical unit in cabin 6. So if you have any needs, come see us and we'll take care of you. Thank you.
Good morning, Sherry Fuller, Finance. I need to make a couple requests. You need to remember to put your O numbers on your CTRs and your E numbers on your shift tickets. We're getting a lot of those in that haven't got any numbers on them at all. Also, if you haven't checked in and you haven't come and seen us, please do so. And after the briefing is over, the girls will be over here collecting shift tickets and CTRs so you don't have to come down to the office. Thank you.
And a quick note from plans, we will have a resource advisor coming on the incident later today. His name's Raphael. So as you guys have time on the divisions, if you could just get some accounting for those dozer lines out there, that's something Raphael and company will be looking at in the coming days. Appreciate it.
Morning, everyone. Welcome to Camp Wasada. Appreciate your patience and giving us the time to set the camp up. There's a couple of things I need to go over as far as details. Before that, if you haven't done a check-in as far as an inspection on your rig, please see one of us after the meeting so we can set up some kind of painless way of being able to get information on your rig when you came in earlier in the fire, so that we can get information to make that easy for you when you check out. As far as orders, the supply trailer is down in the lower parking lot. You're going to be able to get ice and water. We'll have a reefer trailer set up there for lunches tomorrow. Today the lunches will be available where you're having breakfast. Cash orders, if it's not available at the supply truck, if we can get it in before 9 o'clock, we'll have it here by 1600. Showers are in the field, past where the eating area is, and those are available 24/7 right now. We'll have hours set up as soon as we have a camp crew here to set up cleaning. Overflow parking, where you came in, it's about a 3-minute walk. If you have a problem as far as finding a parking spot tomorrow, be aware that there is overflow parking at the entrance of the camp. Potable water is available throughout the camp, so if you need to fill any water, please feel free to use the faucets that are here. Dinner hour, 9 to 11. Lunches will be available as far as the trailer. So sack lunches will be able to be picked up. Breakfast is from 6:30 to 9. And this is a non-smoking facility, so if you can respect that, please see Rummy. He'll have some locations for you to be able to use tobacco products. Thank you. Have a safe day.
All right, that was a lot. You get it, all that? Kale Casey, Incident Information Officer. My staff, Stephanie and Gina over there by the camera, and then we're also getting help from my coworkers at the Borough, Stefan and Aaron, and from Ops for media tours, which we really appreciate. There's a reason why I live in Willow, Alaska. It is the mushing capital of the world. This is the home of champions right here, folks. And what that means is you're protecting a lot of values at risk on this highway. You're also dealing with a community that in 2015, and this is for Warm Springs and Rogue River, thanks for coming, thanks for being here. 2015, milepost 77 and down past my house, ripped. 54 homes, 8 hours, black spruce, same story. Okay, so we have that community that you'll be driving through. Those folks that have questions for you about whether this fire is going to make a big run. That's one of their big concerns, is that this is going to repeat and do it all over again tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, right? That's a big fear out there. We need to address, folks, that the fire is moving slowly. Another big concern that the Alaska State Troopers are dealing with for us, and we need your help with, is the looting rumors. Okay, the Alaska State Troopers have been on this since day one. They've been patrolling 24/7. They've beefed up ever since the Guard came in, so when public ask you about looting, there's been no official cases reported. You can see them shaking their heads back there. They're part of our team. They're part of the organization that protects this community, and they're working their tails off. So we got to nip that at the bud at the lowest level and say that the troopers have had no reported incidents. The problem with Facebook is people are posting all sorts of stuff like, oh, somebody was held at gunpoint, or oh, last night somebody was trying to put out the fire in the yard, the engine crews didn't help. Okay, so we're using Facebook in a good way. We're going live. We're doing it regularly. We're getting the information out there. But then the citizens are getting it all sorts of places, and they're going to come to you. I have a staff of 2, like I said, and a couple of people are helping us out, and I have all of you. Okay, so this matters. What you do today matters. akfireinfo.com is about the only thing you need to know. akfireinfo.com. That's for our fire. That's for Deshka. There's a lot of questions about Deshka. For those of you who don't live here, that fire is literally right here. This could very well easily be a complex, and we have this and that. So there's a whole lot of folks at the community meeting yesterday who are stoked on what you're doing. But when we asked how many people are interested in Deshka, 2/3 of the room went up. So they're going to have questions for you. That fire is not moving very quickly. It's exhibiting the same type of behavior as ours. Ground fire, creeping. Values have not been impacted like they have been here. And there is an incident management team, Pacific Northwest Team 10, in place. If you have questions for me, I'll be here after. AK Fire Info, and thanks for being here.
All right, thank you, Cale. Tom Kurth, Deputy Incident Commander here. Norm McDonald, our Incident Commander here. Always tough to follow our tall, dark, and verbose PIO here with all my talking points. So, anyway, again, Tom Kurth, I've already lost my name tag, so if you find a name tag with Tom Kurth on it, that's mine. Let's see, is this Rogue River here? Warm Springs? Okay, welcome. Where's Rogue River? All right, welcome you guys. We certainly need the help here. Let's see, this is the #1 fire in the universe right now, according to me and according to all of us here. This has certainly affected a lot of people here. And we're estimating as many as 2,000 people have been evacuated from these subdivisions and this community here. So that is hard on people. And if you can imagine, it was Saturday, Sunday, not too long ago, people were asked to leave, and some of those houses are now in ashes. And people are wondering where they are. Is it me? Can we go back in? These are all questions that we're being asked right now. And so our intent is to try and answer those to the best of our ability right now, and to give the people of this community a little victory here and there, and to gain these little baby steps to turn them into from so-called losers of their possessions into winners of somehow. And that happened yesterday. We got the trains moving. Tom Covington back there with the railroad has done that. That's an imposition on our effort, but it takes cooperation between you, the firefighters, and our cooperators. A lot of the folks in our audience are cooperators here. This is a huge interface effort here. So that's our job, is to make sure that that relationship goes smoothly here. Today, we're going to try and move the roadblock, which is at mile 71 up to about 75. Sometime we'll be making that effort. That too is another baby step to allow people in to their homes and access on this highway here. So these are these little victories we're looking for each and every day, and it's incumbent upon you to try and score those for us. That means opening access up to these homes, securing this perimeter to the best of our ability, and then facilitating this return to normalcy that we're searching for so hard here. And that's an accelerated pace that we're looking for, and a relationship and a sense of purpose. Our sense of purpose usually is between each other, support of our fellow firefighters, our crews, our divisions, and then in turn, our sense of purpose should be related to getting this community back to normal here. And so that's our focus here, and we're counting on getting reinforcements, new crews, so on and so forth. So if we could just keep that in mind, this entire incident here, and we'll send you out in the field. You know the drill here. We come back, we do this again tomorrow. My little note is always, if you see something out there, say something. That's an easy thing to do. All right, so we'll start again tomorrow. Go ahead, Adam, and break them out.
All right, thank you, Tom. Unassigned resources, if you came in late yesterday, you're not finding yourself on the IIP this morning, go ahead and meet up here at the fire pit after briefing. Before you all move, though, let's go through breakouts. Also one more thing. If you haven't checked in yet, and I think we're doing pretty good there, but I'm sure there's a few, underneath the canopy where y'all ate breakfast or are about to eat breakfast, Liz is over there with some check-in sheets. She'd be more than happy to check you in at those tables. Breakouts. This is going to be a little bit tough because we got a small area, so let's try this. Let's send Alpha with McPherson out to the dumpster out there, Ryan. Okay? And let's do Delta right here. Let's say stage left, my stage left here, your right. Jones, Kilo, let's keep you right in place there, Matt. So Kilo right at the top. Chaubert with Victor. Let's go back out through the trees here for Victor and for Structure Group out into the parking area here. Is that going to work?